of primitive society. Now I, by virtue of the hooch monopoly, drew a revenue in which I no longer permitted him to share. So he meditated for a while and evolved a system of ecclesiastical taxation. He laid tithes upon the people, harangued about fat firstlings and such things, and twisted whatever twisted texts he had ever heard to serve his purpose. Even this I bore in silence, but when he instituted what may be likened to a graduated income tax, I rebelled, and blindly, for this was what he worked for. Thereat he appealed to the people, and they, envious of my great wealth and well taxed themselves, upheld him. "Why should we pay," they asked, "and not you? Does not the voice of God speak through the lips of Moosu the shaman?" So I yielded. But at the same time I raised the price of hooch, and lo, he was not a whit behind me in raising my taxes. Then there was an open war. I made a play for Neewak and Tummasook because of the traditionary rights they possessed, but Moosu won out by creating a priesthood and giving them both high office. The problem of authority presented itself to him, and he worked it out as it has often been worked before. There was my mistake. I should have been made shaman and he chief, but I saw it too late, and in the clash of spiritual and temporal power I was bound to be worsted. A great controversy waged, but it quickly became one-sided. The people remembered that he had anointed me, and it was clear to them that the source of my authority lay not in me, but in Moosu. Only a few faithful ones clung to me, chief among whom Anjeet was, while he headed the popular party and set whispers afloat that I had it in mind to overthrow him and set up my own gods, which were most unrighteous gods. And in this the clever rascal had anticipated me, for it was just what I had intended, forsake my kingship, you see, and fight spiritual with spiritual. So he frightened the people with the iniquities of my peculiar gods, especially the one he named Busyness, and nipped the scheme in the bud. Now it happened that Kluktu, youngest daughter to Tummasook, had caught my fancy, and I likewise hers. So I made overtures, but the ex-chief refused bluntly, after I had paid the purchase price, and informed me that she was set aside for Moosu. This was too much, and I was half of a mind to go to his igloo and slay him with my naked hands. But I recollected that the tobacco was near gone, and went home laughing. The next day he made incantation, and distorted the miracle of the loaves and fishes till it became prophecy, and I, reading between the lines, saw that it was aimed at the wealth of meat stored in my caches. The people also read between the lines, and, as he did not urge them to go on the hunt, they remained at home, and few caribou or bear were brought in. But I had plans of my own, seeing that not only the tobacco but the flour and molasses were near gone. And further, I felt it my duty to prove the white man's wisdom and bring sore distress to Moosu, who had waxed high-stomached what of the power I had given him. So that night I went to my meat caches and toiled mightily, and it was noted next day that all the dogs of the village were lazy. No one suspected, and I toiled thus every night, and the dogs grew fat and fatter, and the people lean and leaner. They grumbled and demanded the fulfillment of the prophecy, but Moosu restrained them, waiting for their hunger to grow yet greater, nor did he dream to the very last of the trick I had been playing on the empty caches. When all was ready, I sent Anjeet and the faithful ones whom I had fed privily through the village to call assembly. And the tribe gathered on a great space of beaten snow before my door, with the meat caches towering stilt-legged in the rear. Moosu came also, standing on the inner edge of the circle opposite me, confident that I had some scheme afoot, and prepared at the first break to down me. But I arose, giving him salutation before all men. "O Moosu, thou blessed of God," I began. "Doubtless thou hast wondered in that I have called this convocation together, and doubtless because of many foolishnesses thou art prepared for rash sayings and rash doings. Not so. It has been said that those the gods would destroy they first make mad. And I have been indeed mad. I have crossed thy will, and scoffed at thy authority, and done divers evil and wanton things. Wherefore last night a vision was vouchsafed me, and I have seen the wickedness of my ways. And thou stoodst forth like a shining star, with brows of flame, and I knew in mine own heart thy greatness. I saw all things clearly. I knew that thou didst command the ear of God, and that when you spoke he listened, and I remembered that whatever of the good deeds that I had done through the grace of God and the grace of Moosu. Yes, my children," I cried, turning to the people, "whatever right I have done, and whatever good I have done, have been because of the counsel of Moosu. When I listened to him, affairs prospered. When I closed my ears and acted according to my folly, things came to folly. By his advice it was that I laid my store of meat, and in time of darkness fed the famishing. By his grace it was I was made chief. And what have I done with my chiefship? Let me tell you, I have done nothing. My head was turned with power, and I deemed myself greater than Moosu, and behold, I have come to grief. My rule has been unwise, and the gods are angered. Lo, ye are pinched with famine, and the mothers are dry-breasted, and the little babies cry through the long nights. Nor do I, who have hardened my heart against Moosu, know what shall be done, nor in what manner of way grub shall be had." At this there was nodding and laughing, and the people put their heads together, and I knew they whispered of the loaves and fishes. I went on hastily. "So I was made aware of my foolishness and of Moosu's wisdom, of my unfitness and of Moosu's fitness. And because of this, being no longer mad, I make acknowledgment and rectify evil. I did cast unrighteous eyes upon Kluktu, and lo, she was sealed to Moosu. Yet is she mine, for did I not pay to Tummasook the goods of purchase? But I am well unworthy of her, and she shall go from the igloo of her father to the igloo of Moosu. Can the moon shine in the sunshine? And further, Tummasook shall keep the goods of purchase, and she be a free gift to Moosu, whom God hath ordained her rightful lord. And further yet, because I have used my wealth unwisely, and to oppress ye, O my children, do I make gifts of the kerosene can to Moosu, and the gooseneck, and the gun barrel, and the copper kettle. Therefore I can gather to me no more possessions. And when ye are athirst for hooch, he will quench ye, and without robbery, for he is a great man, and God speaketh through his lips. And yet further my heart is softened, and I have repented me of my madness, I who am a fool and a son of fools, I who am a slave of the bad god Busy-Nass, I who see thy empty bellies and know not wherewith to fill them. Why shall I be chief and sit above thee and rule to thine own destruction? Why should I do this, which is not good? But Moosu, who is shaman and who is wise above men, is so made that he can rule with a soft hand and justly. And because of the things I have related do I make abdication and give my chiefship to Moosu, who alone knoweth how ye may be fed in this day when there be no meat in the land." At this there was a great clapping of hands, and the people cried, 'Kloshe, Kloshe,' which means 'good.' I had seen the wonder worry in Moosu's eyes, for he could not